Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent this to me. They want a color map, which would be vector cutting the blue versus the red to cut through and then do this left. I'm not a big fan of color mapping when there's only one or two items. Color mapping is going to make this into two jobs anyway. It's going to cut the blue out lightly and then cut the red out fully. I'm not a big fan of that because it's going to take you longer. First of all, we look, what kind of blue is that? It's not an RGB blue. It's not a CMYK blue. And your color matching has to be perfect. And also, there's a couple of things I don't understand. There's actually a fill, an RGB fill, but there's no fill there. And so what I'm going to do, I set my nudge factor on 5 inches. I'm going to get all the raster or the vector engraving or the raster engraving. I'm going to group that together. I'm going to take the red and I set my nudge factor on 5 inches, and I'm going to get all this out of the way. Now, most lasers I would think want RGB. This is CMYK. So I'm going to right click and make it RGB. And I'm also going to go to object and group it together so I don't have to do that. Now here again, we got several fills, but there's no fills. So I'm going to left click the mouse, no fill. And I'm going to make this black and make sure it's a hairline. And I'm going to group that together. Now I'm going to move this back and I am going to run this as a combination job. I'm going to run the engraving part, which is going to run first in most lasers, I would think. It's going to run, and you set your normal engraving, and then it's going to come back and do a vector cut on the hairline. And if you run it like at 80 power and 50 speeds, it will not cut through your wood, but it'll mark your wood. Vector engraving is a pretty neat deal. When that's done, move this out of the way, move this back, and then run that job whatever power you need to cut through the wood. 100 power at 10 speed, and so on. It didn't take any longer because you can actually, and I would do the cutting last just in case it falls. So I would, if you went right now and press print, and while that's doing that, if you put this up and press print on your dash driver of your laser, it'll be job 2, and when job 1's done, just hit job 2, and it'll cut that out. But make sure you nudge that out of the way so it won't recut that line deeper. That's all color mapping does, is telling either the laser how deep to engrave or how deep to cut. And if you had hundreds of these, I could see color mapping. But with just one item, and even if I was doing 20, I would do this exact same thing. I would run it in 2 jobs to just put everything off the page. Anyway, I hope that made a little bit of sense. And thank you for watching.